I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
Hey guys, welcome back to Oops the Podcast. I'm Giulio, hanging out here with Francis, as well as all of you. Welcome back to another episode. We're both kind of wearing stuff that we don't typically wear right now.
What do you got? What's happening with you?
I'm wearing this red sweatshirt, the Panama City Beach sweatshirt with a pineapple on it.
Did you buy that at one of those stores on the beach, kind of?
Yeah, sort of like a
boardwalk.
I wanted
type
to make
place?
sure that I bought some merch because I enjoy myself so much. I bought a sweatshirt for myself, and I bought this sweatshirt for Hillary, but today she was in our bedroom on a work call, and I had to leave to come here to do the podcast, and this was sitting out because she's likely never going to wear it. It was on the table. It was the only item of clothing that I could put on my body, so I'm now wearing it. And
Pretty good.
yeah, I also bought a couple like very polarizing T-shirts that have like AK-47s on them, kind of as a joke. Like it's not really my style to walk around wearing
Political
AK-47
statements. Yeah.
political statement shirts. I jokingly got them for her as a gift. I chose not to wear that on the podcast. But I like your bomber jacket, dude.
Yeah, thank you. It's a coat I've had, or jacket I've had for a couple of years. I very rarely wear it, but I still love it. Isn't that nice?
It's very nice.
Because it means it won't get old.
Yeah. You'll wear it when, it's going to not,
Yeah.
it won't wear down.
It's a very light jacket. Now, how do you feel about people who wear jackets inside?
I find it typically to be sort of unusual, but it's different when the camera's rolling.
Uh-huh.
You know, if you're like, if Mario Lopez were to be wearing a light jacket while hosting some sort of indoor event, I wouldn't blink an eye. The same way that I did not blink an eye when you came in here wearing it.
Yeah, but I'm not Mario Lopez.
Yeah, but
I could
still.
Celebrities seem to have more leeway for wearing jackets indoors. In the same way that we let them wear sunglasses indoors.
Fine, but okay, the sunglasses thing, I would actually argue that wearing a jacket indoors overall is weirder than wearing sunglasses indoors.
Why?
Because, all right, but think about the time. You're seeing the celebrities in stuff wearing jackets indoors. If you were to be with them in your apartment and they were wearing a jacket under their jacket that was intended to be worn for the entire time, you might think that was weird. Weirder than, for say, if Lil Jon came over and was wearing sunglasses inside. You would expect that from him.
Maybe so. Well, this all begs the question. So excuse me. By the way, somebody corrected me on this recently. I'm not supposed to say begs the question because that's a fallacy of logic. It raises the question. Now, you say those sounds. I did not get it. Well, how does that make sense to you?
So begs the question, to me, still makes sense because you're in a situation where what you have said is just has raised a question that's dying to be answered.
That's
thus
what I
begging
said.
for it.
I said that to this guy.
And what did he say?
He responded, but I don't remember what it was, and it was too confusing. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Keep going.
No, I don't think I was saying anything.
If a question is needing to be raised, then it does beg the question.
Right. The question has then also been begged to have been raised.
And I don't understand why raises the question. I guess it's just one step closer. But he had a point, and I don't know. He said too that when he looked into it,
it feels like
it is one of the
difference.
most commonly mistaken
interesting
isms in English, to the point where it is now accepted for people to make that mistake.
So the only problem that I have with it being a mistake is that it's correct. So whether it feels correct, like it makes sense to me. It's different than like a fallacy like irregardless. Like that's literally just not a word.
Right.
You know, like begs the question, makes sense to me. Therefore, I don't think you deserve a hand slapping for it.
Okay. Well, here is the question that has been begged, that has been raised.
Okay.
Giulio and I, are you ready for this? Oops, the podcast listeners. Will be attending the rising Boston Celtics game at the TD Bank Garden. I don't even know if it's the TD Garden. It's the Garden. The night before our Oops the Podcast live show, March 24th. There may still be some tickets left for the late show. You guys should come. It's
gonna be
a great time. We are going to be sitting courtside. Whoa! Feet on the floor, and I mean on the floor. No one in front of us, and I don't even mean under the basket. I'm talking sideline courtside.
Yeah, that's the real deal.
By the way, I told Giulio about this, and he did not realize that I was telling him he was coming with me.
Yeah.
So he just thought I was telling him that I was going.
This is how you said, Francis said it in a way, and I know that he has some like really awesome Celtics ticket hookup. And he was like, so I'm going to the, or I have tickets to the game. I didn't want to be presumptuous. Like, you know, I assumed that maybe whoever gave them to you or hooked you up was going to be going with you. Like, I don't know. It didn't land with me for a while until you realized that.
I think I said, I have tickets for the Celtics. So if we could schedule our Oops Live show near that date, we could like, it would be great.
Something
for
like that.
us,
Yeah.
Or something.
Something like that.
And I would hope that you would know that I am an aware enough friend to not dangle such a tasty morsel in front of you without you being inferred as an invite.
So I wouldn't have been upset, to be honest, because listen, like sometimes when you get invited to the big dance, there's not a lot of flexibility with who you're allowed to bring. And I've had issues like this in my life where I'll be going to something sick and a friend of mine will literally ask if they can come and I'll say no. And they'll say some shit like, well, you know, it's not like I've never been around celebrities before. I won't act like a loser, like whatever, like something like that. And I'm like, dude, you don't understand. It's not up to me at all. Like I'm not calling the shots.
Yeah, but
so I have compassion for that situation.
Okay, I think that's a good thing, and I do appreciate your instinct to not be presumptuous, because I try to be the same way. That said, I am not the type to flash desirable, you know, to try to instill jealousy or something.
No. And in no way would I ever think that you'd be doing that.
If I were going to the Celtics game without you, and, you know, then I would have brought that up in a much subtler way.
Okay.
A much gentler way.
So this is my thought about it. If you're like, listen, you know, would you be cool with us scheduling it around so-and-so because I'll be up there anyway because I have stuff to do or I have a game. Like I would prefer a situation where I actually was not going to the game, but we still had the show as opposed to just not having the show at all.
Of course.
Obviously. Yeah. So like, it's not a big deal. I'm super psyched to be going. And I don't know if you were going to ask me this question eventually, but I think you were. And I'm glad that you made the clarification between not under the hoop courtside, because that's the only courtside I've done. I have done the under the hoop courtside a couple times. I've never done the real sidelines, Showtime, Jack Nicholson, fucking Spike Lee courtside.
You have sat under the hoop?
I've sat under the hoop like a few times. Friends used to have Knicks under the hoop tickets.
I mean, that's still pretty sick.
Very, very sick.
In fact, now I regret inviting you because you've had the experience.
But I haven't. The Garden, I once sat like, I want to say 20 rows back, also behind the hoop, which at the time was by far the sickest tickets I'd ever had to any event in my entire life. Saw David Aldridge, said hi to him. He big timed me. I'll never forget him. I'll never forget it.
I don't know who that is.
He's exactly.
Who is
exactly
David Aldridge?
He's a basketball analyst who sort of is like, has like John Wertheim status. Like if you're a tennis fan, okay, sorry. He's like one of these guys who like, they'll let him do a piece that he's clearly written. And he'll be like, every June in the midst of the NBA, you know what I mean? This is him. This is Chris is showing you a pic.
Okay, I know that guy. Yeah.
Anyway, he was very dismissive, and I was like, "Listen, dude,
he does produced pieces." Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, you are not famous enough to be this much of a dickhole.
Huh.
Yeah, well, I just called out David Aldridge, dude.
Nice. Called him a ureth.
Anyway, so that was I called him a ureth. That was a Aretha Franklin, dude. But yeah, so that was the best. And I haven't been to the Garden in so long. I'm very, very excited.
Yeah, it'll be good. And by the way, can you look up nascent Nascent, and make sure I use that word right. I think it's like I worry that it could mean new or brand new to something, but I meant it as rising and improving.
Just coming into existence and beginning to display signs of future potential.
Well, then that's perfect. Because the
nailed it.
Celtics have been somewhat mediocre most of the season.
Right.
And they've won like 15 of their last 18 games. And they went from 9th to 5th, and they're about to jump into 4th.
Huge.
They're amazing.
And not surprising. I mean, they have a very solid team of like very good players that like just get you to the postseason.
Jason Tatum scored 54 points the other night.
He's so good. Marcus Smart.
Yeah, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown. Actually, is Marcus Smart even on the team anymore? I'm not sure. He is? Okay. And then, you know who they're playing?
Who?
The Utah Jazz.
No way.
Who are 4th in the West.
Dude, are we going to boo Gobert together?
That's right. Rudy Gobert. Now, my friends and I, whenever somebody gets coronavirus, we just say they got Gobert.
For anybody who doesn't know, this guy was making fun of COVID and then was just like the first guy in the NBA to get it.
Yeah, he made a joke. He was in a press conference where he thought it was early on, and he was just like, this is no big deal. And he made a joke where he like rubbed his hands on all the microphones and then like got away. And then he came down with it and then infected his star teammate, Donovan Mitchell. And Donovan Mitchell, sorry. And everyone on the team hated him for it. They blamed him.
Poor guy, dude.
Yeah.
It was a perfectly good joke at the time.
Yeah.
The equivalent of my prediction.
Mm-hmm.
Also, another prediction that I missed the mark on was Ukraine, the invasion of Ukraine.
Yeah.
I would like to say, to all the people of Ukraine, I'm sorry. I acknowledge how shitty that situation must be, and I'm very impressed by all the high-profile people taking up arms, including Sergei Stakhovsky, tennis player.
Wow.
Who has been shown fucking in a full getup with an AK.
Wow, that is cool. That is
sorry
cool.
to completely throw that throw that in there like that.
You know what I was thinking about with the whole Ukraine-Russia situation? It has been very. I feel stirred in my patriotism. It has ignited a patriotic fervor in me. Not the least of which is because this is such a non-partisan issue. Everybody in America seems to have shelved a little bit their, anger towards each other, and we are now focusing on a new bad guy. Right? Together. Yeah. It's nice to hate together.
It seems like a very unpopular invasion amongst almost everyone.
Yeah.
Including the people of Russia.
Right.
Right.
And so there's this unity in some ways that I have not felt in a long time.
Right.
And America does rally
thing.
around the flag in times of war. And the last time I remember feeling this is following kind of 9/11, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. But I also feel it because Ukraine has been so strong in their resistance to the Russian military that, first of all, hats off to them, but secondly, it has made me realize, my God, our military must be just so much better than the Russian military, which is something I wasn't sure of. I always kind of feared the Russian military, right? Because I'm fearful of like Russian gangsters.
They have a lot of nuclear warheads.
Yeah, but think of this. My thought was, my God, think of how easily our military would have just run through Ukraine.
You don't know.
You think, come on.
Listen.
Delta Force Navy SEALs are going to be repelled by Molotov cocktails thrown off of terraces?
Right. No, it's a fair point. But like, listen, the host always puts up a good fight.
Your home court advantage. Not wrong, certainly. But
much less impressive forces have repelled us with different kind of circumstances.
I guess that's true. Vietnam
or Afghanistan.
Yep.
But again, that's a completely different animal. It's not like
right.
That's a even less traditional war.
Yeah.
We don't.
Whatever. All of this raises the question of what are we going to wear to the Celtics game?
So it's funny that you mentioned that. So Francis made this point, and I kind of was like, I'm just going to wear whatever. And then he sort of like got me excited for the idea of wearing something like crazy.
Life is about finding outfits for events.
I agree with
Once
that.
you get to a certain age.
So, okay.
'Cause we don't have anything
Life
else
is without a doubt about that.
We don't have anything else
That is
to
what life is about.
dress up for. We're not like going out into the streets as much, you know?
So it's a fun idea. And
we need something fun.
I think that I'm just gonna like try to look good. Like I wonder what you have in mind, dude. Are you
Well, I mean, it's a good question. I don't think that this coat is a bad idea.
It's a very cool coat.
But then I thought to myself, well, this coat looks similar to the coat that guy who went on that date with Jeannie Bouchard wore on their date.
Right.
And I don't want to just be looking like I think I'm him.
Dude, a bomber is a very like staple item.
Bomber with a hoodie. People like that look.
Oh, with the hoodie underneath.
Yeah, plus it's green, so it's in keeping with the Celtics. I
Celtics.
definitely want people to know that I'm rooting for the Celtics. But then I thought, well, what if I found some really cool retro Mitchell and Ness authentic 1980s era Celtics starter jacket to wear?
Oh, that's cool too. I was even thinking like a cool hat too, like just that whole sort of like Ben Stiller at the game look, that like cool hat.
I don't want to wear a hat.
Okay. Whatever. That's fine, dude. That's fine.
Well, here's why. Because I think celebrities wear hats as a way of
Be low
limiting
profile.
their profile. You know, they're at a game. It's a very public place. They're sitting courtside, so they know they're on display. But there's that hat tip to humility that celebrities seem to feign when they wear a hat or dress down for a
An
game.
event, right?
Even though they're sitting in the one seat that is bathed in light
Right.
in the entire
I literally think
arena.
that it's given to them because they agree to do the fucking wave at the thing.
Yeah, could be
I actually think, maybe not all of them, but some of those courtside seats.
Right. Well, we're going to have to think of something cool. So the only other option I was thinking of was some kind of ridiculous fur outfit.
This is what I was expecting.
Like a fox with its head still on. You know, that would be a scarf that I could sort of wrap around, some kind of fur thing. The problem with that is I do like animals a lot, so I really don't want to rub people the wrong way by wearing a dead animal. You know?
It doesn't fit your vibe.
Not so much.
Yeah, I like the cool retro jacket idea.
I might do that.
It's fun.
I want people to know I am a Celtics fan. And I'm not just there in the, trying to look like a celebrity courtside.
It's a fun idea.
But it's going to be great, man. We have
I'm really
access to one
excited.
of those really sick
Nice.
lounges
The
where
halftime
everything's free.
buffet.
Oh, we'll go early. I think we should go a couple hours before the game.
Let's do it.
Because I think we should really take advantage of this situation because everything's free.
So, dude, this is funny. This brings up another protocol question. I would argue that I don't even have a say in that. Being your guest to the game, which I am, I am open to doing whatever it is that you want to do.
Yeah.
And I will be paying for all of our beverages and in-game. That goes without saying. If someone else brings you to a sporting event, you have to pay for at least what is the reasonable share of things. Now, if we order 3 or 4 rounds, maybe if you want to get the 4th one, I wouldn't object.
Yeah.
But
it's very nice, and I appreciate that. Fortunately, I think we do get everything for free. I think. I could be wrong. We'll probably have to tip, I would think. But
don't worry, that will be taken care of by
there's
me.
gonna be a cool situation.
Very
and
cool.
I think we should also go for the shoot around before the game to try to get some autographs.
Sounds great.
One time I used to be obsessed with autographs. One time Carlos Boozer, you remember him?
Of course.
Duke grad.
Yeah, he was great.
He was so cool that he did the shoot around and then afterwards was walking off the court and he took off his shoes and gave them, I think he gave one to this kid to my left and one to this
Very
other
cool.
kid. And it's like he just warmed up in those.
That's very cool.
And he's going to put on a new pair of shoes just so he could give them away. That's crazy.
very cool.
Carlos Boozer.
He wasn't like the typical Duke guy aesthetically.
No.
I remember that always being surprising. I'm just like judging a book by its cover on that one. I'm sure he was.
I think he was a Duke grad, right?
He was.
Yeah.
Definitely. And he also played in Utah for a lot
Yeah,
of his
he was a
career.
good player.
He was very good.
Very good defender.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, dude. Okay, so I have
So
some
keep-
good I have some good Mexico stuff for you
Okay.
from the wedding.
Oh, good.
Stories. Was there somewhere else that we were supposed to be going?
No, I was just gonna say, keep an eye out for that cool
Oh, yeah.
photo of me and Giulio laughing about an inside joke we've got courtside
Absolutely.
as the game goes on around us. Maybe shot through the sweaty legs of some center. In the foreground, it's blurry, and through that you see us like elbowing each other as if we're flirting.
Or Marcus Smart taking us out as he dives for a ball.
Ooh,
Going out of bounds.
I wouldn't mind that one
That was
bit.
pretty cool.
And maybe we're so nifty that we can keep our beer without spilling. Whoa, that was close.
We matador him.
Yeah.
Fucking get out of the way.
Yeah. Okay.
Very cool.
Mexico. Tell me
Okay,
about
so first of all, actually,
Mexico.
I forgot one important thing. Update on the ping pong challenge. It is happening in the next couple of weeks. We have a date locked in. We will be recording some of it in some degree. And what I have envisioned for this, assuming that people, there are other things that take precedence over this. Francis has to go on the road, whatever. But I'd like to do pregame interviews with this guy. I've heard that he is training.
Uh-oh.
This guy is training with a coach, with a ping pong coach. Which, well played, dude. You should be. You should be training.
Are you did that make you more or less worried?
More, of course.
Yeah.
If this guy wasn't training at all. So his whole background is like he was this fraternity champion. A couple other things he said, none of which were particularly concerning. But now, like learning to play ping pong in the real way that ping pong is supposed to be played at a high level is something that worries me because I can't compete with that. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, any guy who's like, I beat all my friends, I always beat that guy. But the guy who plays for real, I do not beat. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. Looking forward to that.
Interesting.
That should be fun.
Yeah.
Okay. So, dude, went to this wedding in Mexico. It was a wonderful time. There was a lot of memorable, funny stuff that happened. One of the things being the DJ. So I didn't notice this because we're all partying, whatever, having a blast. But apparently there was a problem with the DJ. The DJ was this very cool looking woman. She was wearing this big kind of fedora situation, wearing sunglasses while DJing. And they kept asking her if they could request songs. And the father of the fucking bride goes up to her and requested a song. And she shook her finger in his face saying, I don't do that. And then proceeded to play I'm sexy and I know it. She played this terrible playlist.
Yeah.
Now that's what I call music playlist 2021. I just thought that was insane. I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
What do you think the deal is with that? Should you have to check with a wedding DJ beforehand to make sure that they will take requests?
I mean, I've never heard of the booked musical act, be it a band or a DJ, refusing requests from certainly a member of the wedding, a ranking member of the wedding party, the person that probably is paying your fee. Because I was gonna say, well, if it's a band, maybe they don't know the song, but typically beforehand you'll sort out kind of their options, what they might play, I think.
So you're not surprised.
Yeah. And
with a band, it seems like a more difficult. If you don't communicate with the band beforehand, you can understand why they might not feel requests. They're a fucking band. They don't know how to play every song, maybe, or they don't know she doesn't know the words.
Right.
A DJ, it seems like you could be able to do it on the fly.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not as if, as you said, that she's playing some high-minded, artistic, flowing playlist that she's involved in. She's just pressing play on random pop songs.
Right. It was pretty insane. I didn't notice, but the bride was complaining to me about it after, which I thought was fun.
That's a control freak kind of. She needs to be brought down a peg or two, I would say.
Dude, yeah, she's playing I Got a Feeling. You got come on.
Ugh.
A 10-year-old could make this playlist.
Ugh.
Get off your high horse. Dude, you guys are going to love this. There's a guy at this wedding who Francis met at a wedding. This guy's name is Chad. He is the utmost Chad, but what they fail to mention about Chads is they typically end up being great guys.
Yeah.
This guy's Instagram is even Le Chad was great. And
Yeah,
I kept
know
making
him.
the joke to him. I kept being like, Le Chad was great. And I don't know if he found it that funny. I was like, Le Chad was great. Le Chad was great.
Uh-huh.
But very, very nice guy. Really enjoyed talking to
He's
him.
got dark hair, right?
No, it's blondish. But maybe now he lives in LA. I don't know. You follow him.
Hold
you met
on.
him at a wedding. He told me a Francis wedding story that made me laugh so fucking hard because it was the most Francis thing I've ever heard of in my life. They went, you guys were both at your mutual friend's wedding and didn't really know anybody else at this wedding. Apparently it was a while ago. This is the scouting report that I got from Lynch. And he then proceeded to tell me an amazing Francis story of Francis amusing himself at a wedding.
All right. I want to hear it. I'm pulling up his Instagram to make sure I know who this is.
Yeah. Pull him up. Okay. So apparently.
Oh yeah, I know Chad. Okay, yeah, I know. You've given his Instagram handle. It's Chad Wiedmeyer. He was a lacrosse player at Princeton. Very good.
Oh, you know what's funny? He didn't even say that.
Yeah.
But he said it in a way. He goes, yeah. Francis played lacrosse at Harvard because he was making the familiarity connection, but left out the Princeton
This
thing.
guy
Chad, you
was
dog.
way better than I was.
Really?
Yeah, he was the real deal.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Wow. That's
He's
crazy.
a super good lacrosse
Crazy for
player.
you to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this guy was great. So anyway, dude, he said that apparently there was like a lobster hors d'oeuvre that you really liked. And what you would do is you kept, every time the lobster thing would come out, you would flag down the lobster people. And each time you told them a new story about why you liked ordering the lobster hors d'oeuvre. Which I was like, this is the most Francis amusing himself via the food at a wedding. And you tell a story, you'd be like, yeah, one night we were on the docks. He's like, the stories got crazier and crazier, and I swear to God, he did it 15 times. I was like, that was excellent.
Man. Okay. So I'm glad. All right. Very good, Chad. Well played. Well played. So I have a thing where I do amuse myself with caterers in general.
I mean, we all know the cake story. That's a great one.
Yeah, but
Contemporary
but
classic.
when there are hors d'oeuvres being passed around, I like to pretend as though each time I take one, it's the first time that I've taken one. So even if the bacon wrapped scallops lady is coming out with round 4 and I've already had 2 or 3, I'll go, what do we have here? Oh, what's this? And then she'll laugh because she's very familiar with me. And it gets to the point where the caterer will start with me with their hot tray. You earn the beeline to you because they know you're their best customer. Their goal is empty the tray.
That's very good.
Nothing bothers a caterer. I'm guessing. This is a total guess. Nothing bothers a caterer more than going up to a group of 4 people, having a conversation and saying, and then being like, nah, we're good. If everyone turns it down, that's a dead end.
like having the deep cut item, like the honey yogurt bite that no one's taking. You're just floating around with this full tray, right?
Yeah. And so, I really do make it a policy to never turn down a caterer that comes.
I like it, dude. It's very funny. I was dying, dude.
Because my theory is I'm very happy to eat my dinner in hors d'oeuvres so that once the party starts, I can just dance and not worry about food anymore. And typically, I mean, it's a little wasteful. I mean, I end up typically eating the entree anyway, but I don't, by that time in the evening, you want to be on to your drinking and dancing. I don't want to be sitting down and eating a fucking sea bass fillet with mashed potatoes and whatever else, or you know what I mean? So I want to move on from food so that I can get into the sweaty dancing kind of element
You don't
of,
want to get
of the
bogged
wedding.
down by the dinner. Yeah.
And so that's where that comes from. But I just do that. I really do. I didn't. That's an interesting iteration of that game I play. I don't remember telling them a story each time.
Dude, it was very, very funny. The way that dude, it's so good.
Yeah.
So good. So yeah, he is the husband of the groom's sister.
Okay.
That was the connection there.
Got it.
Completely random.
Uh-huh.
That you guys know each other or whatever, but still funny nonetheless. Dude. So sorry.
No, that's it. Yeah. He's a cool dude. He's a very good photographer.
Yeah, he is. He is. Dude, yeah, very, very cool guy.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed spending time with him, as well as other people at the wedding. A couple interesting things that came to my mind. So one thing I've noticed, this didn't happen at this particular wedding, but I've noticed it like a catered event in general. there's something really interesting. There's always like one older guy at the wedding who just does not listen to the party planners at all and just does as he pleases. Like when everybody's getting herded to the table, all right, it's dinner time. Everybody somehow like completely listens to that. But there's always some guy like lingering at the bar still who like doesn't give a fuck. And I'm like, that guy's paid for a big event before. He knows that this illusion that they're in control is just that.
Yeah, right.
And he is
right.
asserting himself. And I'm like, I appreciate that guy. I don't know what made me think of that.
Herding fat cats.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, dude. Hill gave a speech.
No.
At the rehearsal dinner. It was really, really good, and it was really fun to kind of have that role reversal.
Did you help her with it at all?
Not
she
like-
run it by you?
She ran it by me just for like general feedback. I don't necessarily, I don't know if like my, let's call it expertise of public speaking, for lack of a better term, helped or did not. But I give my 2 cents, and she may or may not have applied my thoughts.
Was she going for funny, sentimental, mix of both?
All of the above.
Uh-huh.
Printed the speech out, the whole shebang.
Good. She knows.
She was ready to rip.
No reading off the phone, people.
Very high bar for the speeches in general.
Oh, good.
Everybody
All the
was
way
very
around?
good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And a friend of mine brought this up to me the other day, and I thought that this was an interesting thing too. He's like, dude, at the beginning of the dinner, if you tip one of the guys like $50, you never have to like wait around the bar again for a drink. Your drink will just be waiting for you at your seat. I'm like, that's kind of interesting. But I wonder how you would execute that.
It's an interesting one, but I hate to say this. This is going to be an unpopular thing. I just find that at weddings, it's never that long of a wait for a drink at the bar anyway, and I can typically use the breather,
the reset,
by going to the bar. So I don't really do that.
Fair. Somebody's forcing shots on you at some point. Yeah, you're right. I guess it's unnecessary. It was an interesting thing. Okay, dude, I did two funny things that really stood out to me. So this girl had this big back tattoo, and it was sort of obvious that she was trying to hide it. But Hillary and I actually, we like sort of made friends with a couple that we intend to hang out with, which was fun. But for the whole weekend, we were deliberating. We're like, is someone going to ask her about the tattoo? She's not.
She was part of the couple.
No.
That you wanted to hang out with.
No.
Oh, you and the couple were.
All four of us were like, talks. What is that tattoo? We want to know. And it kept being a joke. And eventually, like, had enough to drink that I felt completely comfortable asking the question.
Well, you're the guy too.
I'm the guy to do
because you have enough tattoos that she thinks.
That's a good point.
You're not just here to make fun of me.
So this is in the evening. I'm fully clothed. No indication of tattoo having. So I don't know if it was working in my favor in that situation.
Oh, okay.
I don't think we had encountered each other on the beach.
Do you think tattoo people can sense when one of their own is talking to them, even if they can't see it?
No. Unless
even in the way you ask the question?
Unless they put it out there. Because to like, I should have sniffed out that Chad had a lacrosse career, which, again, a classic thing that Chad would have. But let me make the important point that Chad was a great guy, which is the underappreciated thing about Chads, is that they end up being great guys. So if I had but I did not approach it that way. I walked up to her and I was like, but I said it in a nice way. I was like, wow, like we couldn't help but notice your really cool tattoo and we were curious what it was. Dude, she goes, have you ever heard of a mistake?
Oh my God.
Oh my God. And then she's like, let me try to like break it down for you. And then she made this metaphor that was like hilarious. She's like, imagine all the stars aligned in the sky to say mistake. I was like, was that necessary? Like, how is that pertinent information? But it did not go well. She proceeded to like shame me for 5 minutes for asking the question.
Oh.
She was not happy. She was not receptive. It was a complete disaster. And I never even found out what it was. She was like, I Googled something and I just thought it was a mistake. Okay. I was like, oh my God. Fuck.
I thought I read that as her being self-effacing and trying to be humorous.
Maybe. And maybe we were just both a little too lathered up to be able to express or receive things properly. Yeah. But it was not.
What a weird swing to start with. Have you ever heard of a mistake? That to me sounds like she's about to launch into a funny bit.
I know.
That she's sort of developed.
One would think.
But
apparently, yeah, she did not enjoy having that question asked to her, and it did not go over well.
Okay. Damn.
Dude, one final thing. I was ended up being given a nickname because of a thing that I said that was taken the wrong way. So I walked out and I was talking to these two guys who I didn't really know, who were friends of friends. And I said something like, oh, it's poppin', or what's poppin'?
Jack Harlow.
Right. Nice. Very nice. And they thought that I had said, call me Papa. So everyone started calling me Papa, dude. So the next 2 days, they'd see me be like, Papa, what's up, Papa? I was like, all right, I'll take it. I'll accept Papa.
Don't love when someone pins a new nickname on me. Do you know what I mean?
I guess. But like, it was funny the way that it went down.
Yeah. It's harmless, but like I'm at a point in my life where there's no new nicknames for me.
You don't like it?
No. Who are you to assign me a new nickname?
I guess.
Imagine, like, even if it's a stranger, it's like you don't have that. It's not your right. You call me the name that I introduce myself as to you. And then if you get to know me well enough, you earn the right to potentially call me the nicknames that have been established for me.
It's fair, but I'll say this.
That scenario is different.
These were very friendly-faced, well-meaning, good guys who thought that I had said something that I didn't say.
Exactly.
So they weren't like picking out something wrong with me and being like, oh, scaly back guy or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
hey, reptile. I don't know. Like, you know.
Yeah. No, I know. That's okay. And especially if you're laughing and showing no signs of displeasure at the nickname, fine. But do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do. I do in general. There's something annoying. There's something like potentially disrespectful about a situation like this.
Yeah.
I truly do not feel that this was that. And when I see this guy again and he calls me Papa, I'm going to think it's hilarious.
Okay, good.
You know, I'm completely fine with it.
Okay.
But I do get it. Oh, you're like doing that whole thing is not necessarily cool.
Yeah. Like if I meet someone and I accidentally spill a bit of milk on my shirt and they're like, it's milk. It's the milkman. Yeah. Milkman. Yo, milkman, you drink any milk today? It's like, come on, man.
Milkman, you drinking a White Russian? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Go to the bar. He'll have a milk.
There's more where that came from.
No, I won't. No, I won't have a milk. Idiot.
Dude, that's funny. Dude, one guy did. So it's funny. There's a reason why I think some really great stories are made in a resort setting. So like, for example, like Forgetting Sarah Marshall to me is one of the great comedies of my adulthood, of my adult life. It's a great, I loved White Lotus. And it makes sense. You don't have to manufacture group hangouts because everybody is in the same place for the entirety of the story. It's just the nature of it, which I think is really, because you notice like on a show like Succession, the amount of events they're constantly going to so the characters can like interact, it starts to feel like, okay, they're going to another, it's ridiculous. It gets ridiculous.
Yeah.
And in all shows. So anyway, so I think that and like things were happening that were right out of a White Lotus situation. Like I saw this one couple, the one guy I don't really know him that well. He shows up to the pool. First thing he does, he goes up to my guacamole, scoops out some with his finger.
Yours?
Yes. And then goes, don't worry. He made some like Rudy Gobert joke about COVID or something. He was like, oh, I just had COVID 3 weeks ago. Don't worry. So I'm like, and I was like, what? Like, this guy's like a perfectly nice guy. Like whatever, I'll let it go. But like, that's an insane thing to be doing. That's such a thing out of a comedy.
That's nuts. That is really over the line.
And then he goes, I'm going down to the beach. You want to come? And I was like, maybe I'll see you down there. He goes, could have just said no, bro. Which is like too classic, dude. It's just like too fucking classic. I'm like, that is too good, dude.
But you meet someone like that and they have a couple things like that and you really do start to appreciate them. You know what I mean? To meet someone who's weird now is great.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's fun to meet somebody who's weird.
Yeah, this guy was a little bit of a wild card. Again, perfectly nice guy. Enjoy talking to him. I like him. But it was funny because you just like don't know what you're getting when that guy rolls up.
That's good. That's very good. So overall, great wedding, huh?
Great wedding. We extended because we were too hungover. Essentially, like that's really what ended up happening. Like,
wow.
Hill Dog had Monday off anyway. But dude, they made it so easy for us. So we're like, should we extend? We look at flights on JetBlue. They are so cheap. We're like, okay. And then we call the front desk. We're like, could we extend? Certainly, sir. For the same rate as the wedding? Certainly, sir.
Oh wow, they kept your
yes.
they gave you the room block rate.
And let me just say this: this hotel was like the bathroom's the sickest bathroom I've ever seen in a hotel, and we would have been priced out if we didn't get the block rate. That's not a place I don't think that we could like afford. Maybe,
Dude, we wanted to extend for the Puerto Rico wedding, and they gave us the rate for an additional night.
dude, huge.
And it was 3x the room block rate, and we couldn't go.
Oh. So they did not give you the room block rate.
We did not. Well, we had the room block rate for our reservation,
but not for the additional.
And they were like, "Yeah, we've got our occupancy. It'll be."
Oh God! You're like,
I mean, an insane number.
Yeah.
And we were like, "All right, we'll see you."
Can't do it.
Yeah,
dude, 100%. But I'll say this, dude, it was really fun. I really enjoy not being in control of the itinerary. For a guy who is so particular about what he likes to do, as you all know, listening. When I'm not allowed to do that, I really enjoy it. Like I enjoy going on other people's road weekends because I don't even get to decide. I'll happily sit on your floor and watch 5 episodes of Breaking Bad in the middle of the day because you get to decide that. And that's fine. I have no say. I'm happy to be here. Let's do it. And in this situation too, I would never normally ghost chill at a resort for 4 days. And this was like a really fancy resort too. Like it was like smaller. There wasn't like a bunch of hokey shit. Like really nice. And it was nice to completely relinquish control. And I had a ton of friends at the wedding. So like this big group hang, forced hang, and it was very relaxing.
yeah. You also were in that prime position of your date. Your girlfriend is in the wedding.
Yeah, true.
And so she's got tasks and things all day.
She was gone the entire day. Saturday.
Which means you get to just enjoy the room to yourself and do whatever you want. Wander, drink, swim, meet new people, whatever it is. That is by far, being someone else's +1 to a wedding is the best thing in the world.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's really nice. Let me ask you this. So the best man in this wedding, dude, I'm not even kidding you. This guy could be president. This guy, you hang out with him. You try to find a chink in his armor because you're like, what's this guy's deal? He's too likable. He's too perfect. And you just can't do it. You spend hours with the guy and you're like, this is the greatest guy I've ever met in my life. And you start kind of like, you're like, wow, like, I wonder what it's like to be that great. Have you ever like experienced this? Like, dude, I'm telling you, this guy is my new like man crush. Like I want like incredible guy. The best man of this wedding was an absolute fucking 10 out of 10 across the board. And I just can only be, I'm just humbled by his presence.
Interesting. I don't get so much envy. Because I know somebody who is universally loved.
Yeah.
I know somebody like that who is just everyone's favorite guy.
Yeah.
You know, super positive, boozes hard, but even better when he's drunk, you know?
Yeah,
and,
yes, exactly.
And just, you know, and any door he wants will be open for him. And I look at him and I'm like, man, that'd be cool to be that liked. And then I'm like, well, you have to have a bottomless supply of energy.
Right. You have to live up to it.
You have to be constantly on and willing to go to drinks during the week. I mean, you don't maintain that broad connectivity with the world if you're not constantly saying yes to entertaining and social events and all of this. And I know myself, I don't have that in me.
I feel you. It's a gift and a curse.
I can bring it for a much smaller group of people.
Right.
And I'm fine with that.
Yes.
I'd rather be loved by a few than everyone. I don't really know. I don't really know what that is.
If there's an assumption that being this like prototype for the best possible guy isn't completely natural. Like you have to have some off days. You have to have a bad mood. You have to have some bad quality. So therefore, to your point, it must be exhausting to have to try to maintain that.
Yeah.
But dude, I'm telling you, this guy's the fucking man. You would love him too, I think. Just like what a great guy, and a lot of good folks.
Nice
at this endeavor.
That's good.
It was a good time.
You got a bunch more weddings coming up?
Yeah. And you know, looking forward to them, bro. Got the couple in the summer. Yours, obviously.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
Which I'm excited for. I mean, dude, I have one in Hungary that I'm kind of now, I'm wondering if they're the slightest bit worried.
Yeah.
And I'm sure maybe it's not going to end up being an issue, but I mean, sharing a border with a country at war can't be
No, that's not
ideal.
Good. No, and they're getting a lot of, I think they're getting a lot of
Refugees,
the evacuees.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Poland's getting a ton, but you know, any kind of crisis, you got to wonder. I don't want to put that in the air. I'm not suggesting that like it's going to be a problem, but you just never know.
Okay. I have a question for you.
Okay.
Speaking of the crisis, you know, I was thinking about if, and I hate to get this dark, but if Russia just said we're going down, but we're going down swinging, and they launched nuclear weapons at New York. First of all, I think that with the way how the technology of them, I mean, we probably wouldn't have time to get out. I mean, they get here.
So let me ask you this though:
It's supersonic.
Is in that situation? Are you supposed to tell the civilians like this is happening? Isn't that like
I think you have to if it's a nuclear weapon.
I think you do, and I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't know the facts about this. I'm leaning towards maybe we didn't do that in the last time.
In Japan?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know for sure, and you know,
I don't think we told.
I don't think it matters. Like, of course it matters, but for this example, maybe it doesn't. Hopefully, they would at least be like, "Hey, listen, guys, we're gonna fire nuclear fucking missiles at New York.
Yeah,
you might want to evacuate." But I don't think it happens right away. I think it takes a sec. Like they have to like travel from somewhere.
dude, I don't think it takes. No, they would launch them from the continent.
Yeah.
Or
from
submarine,
like a satellite,
or
right?
you know, it would fly here.
Yeah. But the technology certainly exists, and
that may be, by the way, because the ones that we launched on Japan were launched from planes.
But that
so that may be why they did not know.
Oh, interesting.
But look, I don't think if Russia launched nuclear weapons at New York that they would hit us with a little heads up. I don't see that happening.
Listen, dude. So sorry. Continue your question.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, maybe we would know 15 minutes ahead of time.
Okay.
20 minutes. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I guess, well, in one scenario, it's like, okay, what do you do?
Well, you move, unfortunately.
if things start to get really tense and you get the sense that this might be developing, that there's a chance Russia might do that, would you leave New York?
No. I would not.
Why not?
Because like, I don't, granted that's an unprecedented scenario and God forbid, I probably just shouldn't even be talking about this with my track record on sort of like low expectations. Like guys, I am aware that I've taken L's in these prediction situations. I'm knocking on wood heavily.
We all knocked on wood.
We all did. I think I like to think that it wouldn't get there. It just like doesn't need to. Like why? Like how would that situation unfold?
It would unfold where Putin has now realized that he's sunk his country, and he is furious about it, and he's deranged, and senses that assassins are coming to kill him. His own ranks are turning against him, and in one final act of anger, he sends. Takes out his anger on who he sees as being the great opponent, the great enemy, which is America,
the West
specifically.
The West. Let's assume that the West in general, like let's say, I feel like Western Europe is equally.
I think he launches more. I don't know.
Fine.
I just think it's more likely he launches on America than say Paris.
It's
or
funny
London.
You're saying this to me. One of the smartest people that I know when it comes to like information and sort of processing information, he always has something very interesting to tell me. He said that he actually texted me this exact same thing. Almost like not about nuclear whatever, but being like it's becoming the scenario where this is just a complete dead end without him having an out is worrisome to me. That's what he said, which is interesting, and I haven't really wrapped my head around much more. But okay, to your point, if it seemed super likely that was going to be the scenario, I would likely skip town for a bit.
Yeah. How far would you go?
I would try to look into what, the radius. So this is the other thing too. If you're like, okay, if they're going to nail New York, they maybe will nail other major cities. Maybe I'd go somewhere a little more low profile.
You go to Connecticut, right?
I feel like Connecticut's not far away enough. But I have no idea.
I think that
It is?
It is.
What's
You're
the
what,
mileage?
2 or 3 hours into Connecticut?
120 miles.
I think that's outside of the blast radius
Really?
of a nuclear weapon. I don't know anymore, though.
I have no
They might be bigger now. What's the blast radius for like the most,
powerful.
pervasive nuclear weapons?
Chris just said, "Oh my God."
That's not good.
I found like a nuke map, and you can like put in the size of the nuke, and it shows you where it goes. And stuff.
Well,
that's
let's say it's
interesting.
the biggest nuke, right? All right, here we go. Nuke map.
Oh, this is crazy. This is
New York. Okay, enter yield in kilotons. Oh, wow.
Oh, it's like
It gives you options of previous nukes that have been dropped before and stuff.
By the
Okay.
way, documentary recommendation. I don't know if this is something that is too stressful for people right now, but like there's a thing called The Bomb, and it's like a really well curated experience that shows every single nuclear bomb blast that's ever happened in the history of humanity. It's a very cool documentary.
Interesting. Okay, so I'm seeing. I don't know. This is my problem. There's megaton bombs and then there's kiloton bombs. I gotta believe kilotons are bigger than megatons, right?
Well, we can also look
Can
that
you
up.
look that up?
Yeah. What's bigger?
Let's see this SAR.
megaton or kilo? Oh, it comes right up. Kiloton. So megaton is bigger. It's 1,000,000 tons versus 1,000 tons, which is a kiloton.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's the SAR bomb, which is 100 megatons. You said megatons are bigger than,
Yes, kilotons.
and that gets you almost to New Haven. It looks like.
Okay, well I'm like 40 minutes north of there, where my family is.
There's a fireball radius that goes out to Milford. Sorry, that goes past Stamford, not quite to Bridgeport.
Yeah, I'd be good. I'm like right up here.
Where I'll be performing this weekend.
That's very good. That's very good.
So the fireball, then there's moderate blast damage radius, where most residential buildings collapse. Injuries are universal. Fatalities are widespread. The chances of a fire starting commercial and residential damage are high. Buildings are so damaged are at a high risk of spreading fire.
It's terrible.
That's beyond the moderate blast. So all right, this is interesting. I think,
it is. I agree.
Okay, so then the first wave, the major problem is your fireball radius, maximum size of the nuclear fireball, relevance to damage on the ground depends on the height of detonation. If it touches the ground, the amount of radioactive fallout is significantly increased as opposed to like an air burst or something.
Mm-hmm.
Anything inside the fireball is effectively vaporized. Minimum burst height for negligible fallout is 5.5 kilometers. Then you get into your moderate blast damage radius, which is like the next ring out. That's a little less. Then you have, beyond that, you have... right. And then beyond that, okay, so sorry, the fireball radius is very small.
It's like the inner circle.
That's just this. It's like New York. That would be like almost lower Manhattan, New York, but out into New Jersey, certainly where we live in Brooklyn, right?
Wow,
that's that little
crazy.
thing. Then the moderate blast damage radius goes out past Yonkers,
This is an unprecedented
Hempstead.
scene in the Oops studio as well.
Yeah.
Everybody huddled around this computer looking to see what the fuck's going on
into
here.
Jersey. Then you've got your thermal radiation radius. This is 3rd degree burns. That goes out 73 kilometers.
Okay.
3rd degree burns extend throughout the layers of skin and are often painless because they destroy the pain nerves. They can cause severe scarring or disablement and can require amputation. 100% probability for 3rd degree burns at this yield is 14 cal by centimeter squared. I don't know, whatever. Okay, And then beyond that, there's another ring that's not that long, which is light blast damage radius. At around 1 psi overpressure, glass windows can be expected to break. This can cause many injuries in a surrounding population who comes to a window after seeing the flash of a nuclear explosion, which travels faster than the pressure wave. It's often used as a benchmark for light damage in cities. Optimal height of burst to maximize this effect is 21.7 kilometers. Now, that was just one bomb. This nuke map situation is really, it's like more options and drop down things than, trying to find tickets for an event.
So, dude, isn't there like an interception system for all this shit too? Because I think these missiles, they travel outside of the atmosphere and then come back in.
I don't think that
The
we
ICBMs.
I don't think that either side has the technology
stop all
to
of them.
shoot down all the nuclear weapons that are coming.
Interesting.
Coming in.
So how is this a thing that you're worried about?
Mildly.
Mildly.
It's certainly on my I don't know, in my psyche, in my conscience, in my I don't know. I hate to say it. It's definitely something that I have a little bit of thought about. So I guess my question is, where would you go? And I guess
Yes, to
to
my
your
parents'
family
house,
home in Connecticut would be the spot. But why did I ask this? Oh, this is what I wanted to say. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
I'm 33. I'm almost 33 in a couple weeks. You're what, 34?
35.
Through 35. I had this thought, which was, if a nuclear bomb went off, that was the end of us. Do you feel that you've had what life had to offer? Have you? Let's say
done more.
life is a
liked to have done
a ticket to Disney World. Have you seen the park?
I feel that I've maybe only ridden Splash Mountain, and now I have the taste, and I'm like, there's many more rides I'd like to ride.
Interesting.
Well,
you are a very exploratory person.
Yeah, I would like to have done more. I realize that maybe I've done a lifetime's worth of stuff for some people, but I don't even mean that in like a fucked up way. But I would like to do much more. So I would be bummed out.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, there is one major thing left that I really want to do, which is to have children. But other than that, I think that if this were the end for me, I'm not crying. I have. If it were the end, I could say in good conscience that I've seen a lot of the park, and that I did have a very good run of it.
Yeah.
Like 33 to me is an age where you've had a good portion of the meal of what the restaurant has to offer. However you want to put it. Like I think at 18, at 15, even 25, there's so much life. But I have checked what I consider to be some of the biggest boxes of life, which is, falling in love with someone, finding the person that I want to spend my life with, traveled, experienced loss, competed in sporting events at a very high level. Whatever it is, just like I have a breadth of experience now where if life were cut shorter than I had hoped for it to be,
it might be a little easier.
It's a easier pill to, metaphysically swallow.
That makes sense. That certainly makes sense.
And it's not so much of a feeling of, boy, I really left stones unturned.
Yeah.
As it is, I would have loved to know the feeling of meeting my children for the first time, or, watching them grow and learn to walk or ride a bike or get into
Which
college. Or
I guarantee you, and the thought that I'm having during that is that once you know, God willing, you experience all that shit, you will be like, oh, I was wrong. This is the good stuff.
I agree with that. So it is definitely an ignorant point of view. But I let's put it this way: like when I was 24 and 23, I had so many more questions about where my life might go or what might happen, and far more of those questions have been answered. Not always yes.
Right. No, but the ambiguity is slightly taken away.
Yeah,
as years go on.
There's just a lot more things where I'm like, oh, I've explored that avenue. It either worked or it didn't.
Right.
You know,
what might be part of that's answered already.
Right.
You know.
Right. So I feel lucky. I feel lucky in that regard.
Yeah, I do too. I feel like I always think about this when I was, 15 years old, sitting there in class plotting how to fucking hit on Molly Goldrich and get rejected again. like if I could see how things turn out for myself, I do think that it would have taken away a lot of stress that I had at the time. Yeah. As I continued to strike out in my ventures.
I mean, think of it this way, right? If you were 15 years old, and you ran into a soothsayer, someone who could read the future, what age would you want to know how things were at?
I'm too scared for that, dude.
No, I know, but like, okay, let's say you had to know.
I had to know.
And you said, all right, tell me, it's probably not that far from this time, right?
So how old was I when I encountered them?
I don't know, 10, 15.
Okay.
So
I wouldn't have had the wherewithal at that time to know that I didn't want the answer to that question. So I would have asked by 30 probably.
Right, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I think that's I don't know. There's definitely some peace, I think, that comes with that. Because if someone does launch, the point is, if someone launches a nuclear bomb in New York, what the fuck can we do?
Right.
In all likelihood, as I understand it, we probably can't get to Connecticut in time.
Right.
And so
it's a can of worms.
Will you live out those last 10 minutes in anger and frustration that you didn't maximize more, or will you be able to say, wow, that was a pretty good run I had?
Dude, I honestly think that I would fucking fight till the end. I would be trying to figure out a way to like build something, like completely obviously all in vain. I'd be like, how can I get into the ground?
Giulio gets into a bathtub.
I'd be trying to find a blast center or something. I'd be trying to figure something out, and it obviously wouldn't end up working out, but I wouldn't give up hope just yet until I saw that blast in the sky, which you got to watch The Bomb, guys. It's really good. It's really cool.
What's that again?
It's this documentary that shows every nuclear blast that's ever happened in the history of humanity. Wow. It's very cool. And it's with all this music. It's a very interesting, cool thing to watch. I don't know. But if you just search for where it is, I think it might have been on HBO when I watched it. I'm not totally sure, but I would check that out.
Cool.
Pretty good.
All right. Nice.
All right, guys. One more. Well, let's tackle something we can control here, which I hope that prophecy does not come to fruition.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make any predictions for this one because I don't have a very solid track record at this point. But let's see if we can help out our friend here. This is called "My Coworker's Getting Scammed and Doesn't Know It."
Ooh.
Hey, Julian Francis, British Columbia listener here. I've been working at a COVID testing center for the last couple months and befriended one of my coworkers who's an ex-military guy in his late 60s. Apart from the racist/sexist jokes that he makes on occasion, he seems to be a pretty good dude at heart, and I don't mind working with him as I do most days. Over the last few weeks, he's been telling me about how his girlfriend, who he proudly claims is half his age, is moving in with him pretty soon. When he first told me this, I was somewhat surprised, but laughed it off and said, "Good for you, man." He's brought her up to other coworkers, how excited he is about her moving in, as he's living alone ever since his wife passed a couple years ago. Today, he began talking about her again, but this time decided to show me a picture of her. My first thought when I saw it was, yeah, there's no way this is real. Mm-hmm. He then proceeded to tell me about how he's paying for her to fly up here from California and that she recently inherited $327 million from her dad and wants him to manage the funds once the legal battle is over. The other day he asked me to lend him money for a pack of cigarettes. So I know he isn't like rich due to the fact that he's, not too easy on the eyes either. And I honestly just can't fathom a situation where this is not a scam.
Mm-hmm.
I've been racking my brain trying to figure out a way to warn him without breaking his heart. Ryan savagely just bursts out laughing. Oh my God, dude. I love it. Perhaps Ryan is not really polite after all, dude. Okay. I know he doesn't have much money, and I'm sure the flight payment is just the loose thread in the t-shirt of lies that this scam artist has planned. And it's very good, right?
Yeah.
So I'd hate to see him put himself in debt from this. Any advice would be appreciated. I'm reading the PS. I just want to applaud you guys on the podcast. I think it's one of the funniest out there. Listen to All Day at Work. Started on episode 1, beginning of February. I'm on episode 94 now. Nice. I like working in order.
Nice.
This is a very, very good question.
Yeah. Boy, I mean, your first instinct is, don't be the messenger, because no matter what, people just get mad at the messenger, right?
But
the stakes are high
they're
here.
so high.
The stakes are high.
They're so high.
And, if you like this guy, one thing you could try to do is you could try to, I wanted to say, like, come up with definitive proof. Meaning, look for the photo that this woman is allegedly using on the internet and see if you can present him with irrefutable evidence that this is a catfish situation. Because
my exact thought.
That would be my first effort if you're willing, and if you want to attack it from a sort of detective sleuthing type thing. Otherwise, I don't know. I mean, what do you think?
Dude, I think you're right on. And the thing that you have going for you in this situation, as far as proving it, I didn't even think of this, but it's a great point. Is that scammers, they need numbers. It's a numbers game for them, because nobody's stupid enough to fall for this shit. But occasionally they get the vulnerable, lonely boomer, doesn't know about technology. These are the people who are susceptible to this shit. So the $327 million, that's a super specific number. I guarantee you there's a Reddit thread out there about this. And to Francis's point, the picture, and even we've gotten emails at Oops from scammers. And I'm like, this seems like a scam. And I will then just type in the email address or there's something, and there's some indication of it being a scam that pops up always. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's a really good angle to play, because, you don't want to do it to yourself to have this sort of set in his ways, older guy who's had a rough couple years, finally has something making him feel good. And you're going to be the one who brings it all down on him. I really do think it's worth it, because the outcome for this guy is so sad. This guy's going to, this could ruin his fucking life.
Yeah.
And this guy seems like a perfectly nice guy, minus the racist jokes. But these old dogs, dude, whatever. They don't mean anything by it. Whatever. Dude, this guy, you need to protect this guy. You got to tell him.
Yeah.
And there's other people at work too. You could have a little intervention situation if they'd be willing to. And if not, you can still be the fucking good guy, because even though the messenger does take the arrow, you won't die from it, and the guy will never forget you for doing it.
Right.
In a lot of situations where I've heard of this, where guys brought the bad news to people who did not take it well, they came around and righted the fact that they didn't take it well.
Right.
And I know, dude, I'm the first guy to be like, it's not worth it. I think it's worth it in this situation.
Yeah, I think
it's too sad.
I think it is too. This isn't telling your buddy that his girl cheated on him or something like that. It's massive amounts of money potentially at stake, and identity theft, fraud, whatever, true crimes to be committed here, it sounds like. So it sounds like a Tinder swindler type situation.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it's less sophisticated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, sorry to bring up back-to-back downer topics, but this seemed like we needed to address it.
Yeah.
ASAP.
Yeah.
Chris,
what do you got?
If you can get that picture from him, you can reverse image search it, and then you can find where else it is online, and then that's a pretty easy way.
I've been trying to do these reverse image searches for articles of clothing that people wear that I want for myself.
Yeah.
And I cannot figure out how to do that.
Did you ever get the boots back?
No.
Oh, no.
Someone asked us about
I did not get the fucking boots back. And to this day, it is a thorn in my calloused foot.
You're fucked. That guy skipped town.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, you got to tell this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Got to tell him.
Agreed. And you could also, by the way, last thing, you could potentially, if you felt okay doing this, lie and say that you once got catfished and that these were the signs of it, and that it feels familiar to you, because then you're not coming at it. You're coming at it from a concern, as opposed to, well, it'll seem less judgmental on your part.
Which is funny because I just imagine you making it even, like, you start telling this, you're like, listen, dude, like, and I know you're a stud. You start clearly, you're hot, dude. Like, if I were this chick, I would obviously my point is.
Yeah, but when I was 2 years ago, girl half my age, well, plus a few years because it was legal, asked me for $327 million, or like came in at $327 million, same amount of money, it was a lot of red flags.
Dude, Chris, can you literally Google this right now? I'm going to bring up one other thing to wrap this up, but can you look up the $327 million thing? Maybe it's too specific or it's the wrong number, but it's worth looking into. If you guys have anything during the Boston show that you'd like to talk about, or that you want us to sort of, just anything that you think would go well if you're going to be at the show and you want to talk about it, shoot us an email, oopspodcast@gmail.com. If you want to ask us for advice in general, oopspodcast@gmail.com is the place to do it. Chris, what do you got?
Apparently there's 327 million Americans, and that he could have just taken that, or they.
That's it? I thought there was more than that.
I found one article about the Powerball being stuck at $327 million.
Starting to sound like Fibonacci's sequence here.
Very good, dude. Very good. Very
that
good.
number keeps popping up.
Very good. Well, listen, old fella, we hope you don't you don't go down that road.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Cool.
Anything you got?
No, get us out of here. I got Gotham Comedy Club, New York City, big headlining weekend, April 8th and 9th. Few tickets left for that. It is going to sell out. Come to francisells.com. You'll see tickets there. I'm excited to watch you do it. I'm definitely going to pop in and check it out. I have some cool dates coming up too. I'll keep you guys posted about it. We love you all and talk to you soon.